silence has an aliveness to it. It's not the silence after the words. It is silence before anything emerges. It's silence before anything arises. It's not the silence after things. As a metaphor, I think Eckhart Tolle says this. Well, others as well say it that were before him, so I don't know who the original source is, but nevertheless, music, right? We all know music. We all live in a world, a wonderful world of music. There's only 7 notes to music. I actually didn't know this till last year. At age 39, I found out there was only 7 notes to music. And it made it even more wonderful to realize that within 7 notes only, we have all the music we have in the world, in all the different languages and cultures. There's 7 notes only. Imagine Mozart, Beethoven, to whoever else your favorite is. 7 notes, that's it. It's pretty simple. But the magic is created within those 7 notes. There's space between notes. That is what makes music. It's not the notes. That's what I want to point to as a metaphor. The space between notes is what makes music. It's what creates music. There is space between words that I'm using right now that is making the sentence. There is space between words versus there's space between words. See, the second one is just flat. It's like, what? What did you say? That's mumbling. There is space between words. There's space between words. Can't even do it. That space between words is what makes the sentence, not the words. Valuing the space more than the words will have you see that the space is always there. The words come and go. The space between notes is always there. The music comes and goes. The space is always there. It's never born, never dies. That space within the room that you're in, Anna is outside. There's space outside, which is making that patio possible. The patio is designed with space being the most valuable thing, not the furniture there. Basha is in an office type space. I'm in an office type space. Amber's in a living room. That space within which is the most important part of that room, not the things in the room. Now, this is not an opinion. It's a pointing. So if you start to value the space, you'll start to see that that's always there. The space within which is in your room is not different from the space that's outside of the room. It's the same space. It just looks different. It's the same space. The space in this office is the same as the one outside. We put walls and windows and it looks different, but it's the same space. The space is the most valuable. That space is a metaphor, what I've just pointed to. One more. Reading a book. If you read a book, another magical thing that we have in this world, right? We have millions and millions of books. They'll take you for a ride. Beautiful rides. Harry Potter to whatever else you're into. You'll notice that when you read a book, there's space in the book. That's what's making the book possible. Without the space, you can't print the words, you can't have a story, you got nothing. It's the space that makes it possible. You'll notice that every book is different, but every book has the same space. If you value the space more than the book, you'll enjoy the book even more because there's no attachment to it. I love this book and I hate that book. That book is boring. I love the space. That space is what's making it possible. The white pages on a book is the most valuable piece of the book. Without the white pages, there is no book. There's no words, there's no sentences, there's no story, there's no stimulation, there is no knowledge. It's the white pages on the book that is the most important piece, yet the most ignored, because it's subtle and not compelling and completely perfectly neutral. It's not going to evoke anything in you. It's just space. People will even call it boring sometimes. If they look with the ego mind, it's quite boring. But if you rest in it and realize, wow, that's what's making it possible, then you will not be bored. There's a space within us, inside of us, there is a space, there is a dimension. In that space, emotions occur, thinking patterns occur, thought structures that we've been carrying for years and years occur. But there has to be a space for that to occur. You get a thought, you decide that it's truth, you hang on to the thought, you pull that thread, you make a story out of it, you pass it to generations down below, forgetting that it's the space that's making it all possible. Drop the stories and the meaning. You'll actually enjoy it more if you drop it, right? You don't have to demonize it. Culture is thought created. Religion is thought created. All your traditions and values and beliefs that you really cherish are thought created. There has to be a space within which it all happens. Without the space, none of that is possible. Indian culture is so rich, full of colors and music and singing and worship and sacredness and honoring and gossip and all of it. All of it within which it happens within a space. I have a friend that is Italian, and there's a lot of deep culture in Italian culture. It's very rich, very traditional, beautiful architecture and food that is like God there. I love it. But there has to be a space within which it happens, all of it. That space in the Italian culture that has created Italian culture and has been given the ability to, create generations and ladders of it is the same space within every human being and every culture. Nationality is space. We are caught up in the words that show up within the space, and the space actually is the most valuable. If you value the space more, you get a feel for it, because there's no knowledge there. It's space. What the hell are you going to learn? There's nothing there. There's a feel. If you value the feel, you're actually valuing another dimension within you. You're valuing the source of thoughts, source of all thought. All thought. Psychology right now has over 400 approaches, modern psychology, and over 1,000 diagnoses within it. All thought created. It's all within the thought field. It's not really helping anybody get anywhere. And not saying it's not valuable. It's very valuable for many people, obviously. It's the space within which that is more valuable. That's what's creating transformation, help, whatever progress there is, it's because of space. I can go on and on, as you can see. The space is where silence is. If you experience silence, you drop into a silence. And the only way you can do that is notice the feel, right? You feel silent, then everything is allowed to come and go. Naturally, your common sense will allow everything to come and go. The deepest, darkest thoughts, the deepest, darkest past, the most wonderful imaginations, most ridiculous imaginations. I'm going to grow up and be a dragon. Sure, bud, go for it. Right? You will allow anything. Possibility happens within space. That silence is the essence of everything. That silence is the fundamental principle behind life. There's only one fundamental principle behind life: the intelligence behind and beyond everything and everyone. One fundamental principle. That principle is the creator, and that is the essence, that is the energy inside of every molecule, every atom, everything. You take a leaf from a tree and you'll see that under a microscope, there's just space within which those subatomic particles are joined together. They take samples, right? DNA samples. They can scrape a piece of your skin very, very lightly, and they've got your DNA. Well, if you do that and put it under a super microscope, you'll see space within which all those cells are joined together. So that space is alive, and that's why it's holding matter in the form of whatever. A pen, a body. There's space in everything, and that's the most important thing. That is the only real thing, is space. All form comes in and goes out. Within the space remains.